So today with us on Stool Talk, we have with us a legend, Hall of Famer, one who names ring bells around the world, around the city of Toledo, dual sport athlete. When you hear his name, you hear of greatness, you hear of dominance, you hear of legacy. Mr. Terry, how you doing today?
Oh, Joel, thank you very much. I'm just so glad to be here, man, on your show. And anything you need from me, you got it, man.
Yeah. So tell us about the greatness. How did it start? How did the athletics start, and how did you first realize that that's what you wanted to do?
You know what? It was it's truly a God blessing. I have to give all credit to him. Secondly, I always speak very highly about my parents because they were a big inspiration, a big influence, and they just showed me the right way. From a very very young age, and a lot of what I've achieved in life was achieved through hard work, determination, and just a mental attitude of I ain't never gonna give up. You know what I mean? And I know what it takes to be, one of the best. And it just doesn't naturally happen. Even if you have that skill level, you still got to put the work in.
Yeah. So which sport did you gravitate to first, or did you start playing all the different sports growing up in the neighborhood like you typically do?
When we grew up, and you understand this, Mister Witcher. When you grew up in the neighborhood, now I know you a little bit younger than we are, but the principles are still the same. In our community, we did everything. In the morning, we may be throwing around the baseball. We get sick of that. We start throwing around the football. Then it might translate to a basketball game. Then we might go play hide and seek. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was just a natural thing that we did in the neighborhood back in the day. And of course, your mom and dad kick you out. Don't come back until lunchtime, right?
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
let you back home if you're hungry at lunchtime, but then you got to go right back out there and do your thing again. And make sure whatever you're doing, you stay out of trouble, you're respectful towards the neighbors in the community, and you got your butt home by the time the street lights come on.
Yeah. Um, did you look up to Mr. Melvin Gaines in the neighborhood? What about his game, or what about his athleticism, or what about him that made you see him and say, I want to do that, I can do that, or made you just want to work how he did? He was an inspiration to you?
And you already know, man. I've written several articles on Mr. Melvin Gaines and the influence he had in my life in regards to just a character as a young man growing up, and especially his athletic ability. You know what I mean? 5'9" at the most, 165 pounds, bow-legged like you ain't never seen nobody, and he was just a phenomenal athlete. I was his flunky boy at Devilbiss. I used to just watch this guy every day at tour days, man, and I'll bring him his water at lunch. He say to me, go over there and get me that bag over there. I say back in the day, yes, sir, man, I got you, man. You know what I mean? He was just such an influence, man, and I owe a lot to him because I always looked up to him, wanted to be like him. And I still feel that, in my opinion, he's the best two sport or multi sport athlete that ever came out of the city of Toledo, without a
Okay.
doubt.
So, at what grade level did you start varsity? Did you start in at, let's say, football one grade, and basketball was it a different grade, or did you go to varsity at both levels in the same grade?
Well, as you know, I had an opportunity to go to St. Francis, but me and my best friend, Farley Bell, we decided not to go there. And to be honest with you, because it was an all boys school, know, we wanted to be around some females.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So I went in, we decided to go to Devilbiss. When I got there my freshman year, we played JV. Okay, we played freshman football, but we played JV as a freshman. And then the last 6 games of the season in basketball, they moved us up to varsity. So I actually played on the varsity the last 6 games as a freshman at
Wow.
Devilbiss.
Wow.
Yes, yes, as a freshman. And you know something else, Mr. Witcher, you know something else? We didn't we didn't have a very good season my freshman year. In fact, I think we finished like middle of the table, which was
Mm-hmm.
disappointing because we had won the championship at Nathan Hale Elementary when in the 8th grade. We won everything, you know, in football and basketball. But it was a little disappointing for us once we got to Devilbiss. Our freshman year in football, it was a whole different story. Whole different story.
Hey, you want to work hard. Now, while you were working hard on this side of town, I wouldn't say your rival, your good friend, but y'all used to go at it at Scott.
Right.
It's so
Well,
funny
you know what? Hey,
talking
I'm
about me
I'm
later.
kind of waiting on you to tell me which sport. Are you talking about football
Uh,
or are you talking about basketball? Because in football, I just seen your dad, right? And I looked at him and I smiled, and he said, "TC, you don't even know who I am." I said, "Look, Mr. Danny Witcher, I would never forget you. You know, I sometimes in the morning when I try to wake up, I can barely move. And I said, because of you, you got something to do with that. You know, all them hardest hits you put on me, man. It was like crazy. So it depends on what sport you're looking at, football or basketball.
So you answered that about the football. Truman Clay
Right.
for basketball. Did you hear about him on his side of town, growing up through the ranks and through the years as you started high school?
Well, you know, a lot of people don't even remember this, man. We scrimmaged Robinson, Nathan Hale Elementary back in the day. We scrimmaged Robinson at their gym. Okay, when they had, I know Truman was there. You know what, Coach Jones was coaching them, uh, and I know they had a really good team. And believe it or not, we were playing for Nathan Hill, and we beat them in the
Wow.
scrimmage. We
Wow.
beat them in the scrimmage. Now, but let me tell you something. We ended up facing Pickett in the semi-championship, right? City League semi-championship back in the day when they had Sterling Burgess and Chapman, the Chapman boy, I forget his first name. In the semifinals, we faced them and they beat us.
Wow.
They beat us. So Truman and them at Robinson advanced to the championship game my 8th grade year, and they played Pickett, okay, in the championship, and Truman and them won it. They beat Pickett.
Wow.
Yeah. So we go way back, man. We
Uh,
go way. And of course, you know, even back then, Robinson had so much talent, man. I mean, just so much. I can't remember a lot of the players, but they were tough, man. They
yeah.
really were.
Coming up, growing up, y'all had a game. And what city was the city championship at UT? I heard about the
No,
UT. It wasn't at
no.
UT.
You talking about the grade school city championship or
Elvis.
at Developers?
Yeah.
Yeah, we never. We me and Truman, we really faced off at Benny Williams Field House.
Yeah.
I had broke all kind of records the Sunday before at the Shoe Bowl.
Yeah, that's
My
that's what
senior.
that's what I'm talking about football. I was hearing about the football game. Then you had to come back and play him in the
Yes,
basketball. Yeah, that's what I was looking
yes,
at. Okay.
yes, and that was 6 days later. So I rushed for like 328 on the Sunday out at the Shoe Bowl. I had like 3 touchdowns. I had like so many solo tackles, a couple interceptions. And then that Saturday, the following Saturday, we opened up against the Scott Bulldogs at Benny Williams. So I only had 6 days to get ready for Truman and them Bulldogs. And they were ranked number 4 in the state of Ohio at that time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't no such thing as oh, you got to get basketball muscles. You know, it's going to take a while to adjust. And I really believe that stems from when we was coming up, we just played everything just
Yeah.
naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you transition from football to basketball, and I was like, I'm ready. You know,
Yeah.
hey, my muscles ain't tight. I'm ready. And
Yeah.
so, you know, we tipped the game off. And as you know, Truman ended up scoring 40 in a high school game. I ended up scoring 38, and they
Oh.
beat us by 2, right? So right now, to this day, I say, because we call him Blue, you know, sometimes we call him Blue because he was born in Kentucky. So we call him Blue. Some people call him Blue. Uh,
Wow.
and a lot of times we laugh and joke, and I say to him, man, I just had won a championship in football 6 days before we played y'all, and I still dropped 38 on y'all. He was like, T, you should have had 2 more. Because they beat us by 2,
Yeah.
and he had 2 more than I did. He had 40 and I had 38. So, and I'm like, Truman, shut up, man.
I never knew he was from Kentucky. Do you think that that's why he went to University of
Right.
Kentucky?
Well, he had people down there, man. He had
Oh.
people down there. And let me tell you a quick story. Let me just tell you a quick story on this. So, Coach Hamilton, Richard Hamilton, was recruiting me in Toledo. I mean, like bad in the city almost every other week, right? Talking to
Uh-huh.
my parents, Mr. Crosby, we got to get your son to sign with the Wildcats, the Wildcats. One day, my dad said to him, look, I told you my son is going to Tennessee, but I'm going to help you out, Coach Hamilton. There's a young man across town that's just as good as my son, or maybe better. Y'all need to go and get him. His name is Truman Clater, and he goes to Scott High School.
Wow.
And that's how that happened.
Wow. Wow. So what
Yeah.
made you decide that you wanted to go to Tennessee? What was it about Tennessee that had you wanting to go there?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, my mom and dad were getting a divorce my senior year, unfortunately, at
Uh,
a really pivotal time in my life. You know, when I really needed both of them, you know, to give me that guidance and that leadership. Unfortunately, my senior year, they were getting a divorce. And I chose Tennessee really just to make sure that my mom was going to be okay. Okay. Because my dad had moved out the house. You know, we had this big house on Parkdale. You know what I mean? And, you know, I just wanted to make sure that she was going to be comfortable while I went to University of Tennessee. And so that's one of the real reasons I chose Tennessee. And if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't choose Tennessee, to be
yeah.
honest with you.
Did you just say I wanted to play basketball in college, or did you have a chance to play both, or either or? What made you decide I'm gonna stick with basketball?
Like I said, Mr. Witcher, earlier in this interview, really, if I had, and I know we can't go back to how things used to be, but if I had the opportunity to this day to choose basketball, football, I would have chose football, to be honest with you, because they wanted me to play free safety, not running back, but free safety. And
Oh,
I just think with my athletic ability and my size, you know, I think I could have been a 10-year NFL All Pro, you know, player. But then again, I often have to say to people, there's different levels. Okay, high school football is not college football, and the same thing in basketball. You
yeah,
know, uh, the pros, the NFL is not like playing in college. You know what I mean? So you stepping up all the time, and you know, basketball has always been my favorite sport. I've always enjoyed playing basketball rather than football. I played football really out of necessity because I didn't have any other choice. My mom and dad said, "Yes, you playing for some football."
yeah.
Yeah, so I would have chose basketball, but yeah,
So
but either way, I've had a great life.
yeah, At Tennessee, you guys had the famous pinstripe pants, and y'all had a famous like y'all used to do something in your warm up line. Did y'all get that from the Gold Trotters, or where did that come about?
Yeah, Coach Ray Mears was known for that, man, nationwide, man. We had so many different antics. And to be honest with you, we were showmen, to be honest with you. And you had to spin the ball on your finger. Coach Mears actually recruited somebody just because he could ride. He couldn't play. He wasn't that good, but he gave him a full scholarship back in the day because he could ride a unicycle around the gym in warm-ups, spinning ball on two hands.
Wow.
Like, riding the unicycle. He got a full scholarship at University of Tennessee just to do that.
Ah,
So we were showmen, man. We had the orange and white pinstripes. We come out, we start our drills, man, and 8-man weave or whatever, man, and the crowd would be hyped before the game even started.
yeah. So after your college career, you had a great college year at Tennessee. Where did you go then? You went semi-pro? Did you go to the NBA, or what happened with that?
Yeah, I got to. I don't know if you know. I never played a down of college football. And every day, Johnny Majors at the University of Tennessee used to hound me, man, and say, Crosby, you playing the wrong sport. You need to come out here and play free safety for us. Coach Johnny Majors in football.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I got drafted without even playing a down of college football, but in the seventh round by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you knew that.
Nuh-uh. Wow.
I don't know if you knew that. My senior year, I got drafted. They came down to some scouts. Cowboy scouts came down right before a basketball practice, and they asked to speak to me. And Coach Don DeVoe at the time said, Crosby, you have some scouts from the Dallas Cowboys here. They want to talk to you. So he let me out of basketball practice. I went, shook their hands, met them, three of them. It was three of them. Said, Mr. Crosby, we're thinking about drafting you in the NFL, but we want to do some agility drills with you. Just some skill set. So we want to time you in the 40. We want to do some jumping skills with you. We want to do some agility drills with you. And man, I freaked them out because I ran like a 4.340.
Wow.
Right. And they was like, wow, this guy's like everything they say he is. So after that half hour of working out, showing them what I could do, next thing I know, when NFL draft come up, I'm drafted in the seventh round by the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah.
Wow.
So I got drafted in the third round by the NBA Kansas City Kings. They're now Sacramento Kings. So I got drafted the same year in the third round NBA, and in the same year, seventh round NFL. So I got drafted in the third round, went to Kansas City, played. It's like 60 people there in a training camp. You got walk-ons and you got this draft, this draft. There was myself and Reggie King from the University of Alabama. He went in the first round, and I went in the third round to KC. And then there was others, but I made it all the way through the rookie cap.
Mm-hmm.
Then it came down to exhibition, so they narrow it down. They cut, comes down to 25, and I made it through there. And then we open up the the exhibition season. I played all 10 exhibition games, started at point guard, some of those, and then I opened up the regular season and played 4 regular season games before I got released from the team. So that was it. And you remember Daryl Dawkins?
Yeah.
They called him Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah.
You remember when he broke that glass backboard?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. You're a lot younger.
Yeah.
But he was the first NBA player to break a glass backboard, a fiberglass. I was on Kansas City bench when he done that.
Oh, wow. Dang, man.
against yes, yes, against the Philadelphia 76ers. And you know who they had at that time, right?
Dr. J, right?
Dr. J. Maurice Cheek at the point guard. Yeah, they was nice, but I was on KC bench that game.
Mm.
And I still have a piece today, Mr. Witcher. Guess what? Today I still have a piece of that fiberglass
Wow. Did he get
because I
cut or
ran out on
anything?
the court.
Did he get cut or the glass just went everywhere?
No, he dunked it, and it just shattered.
Ooh.
Because a Chocolate Thunder was like 6'11" back in the day, 300 pound of muscle.
Yeah.
You remember it? Yeah. So when he dunked it with two hands, the backboard just crumbled, man. It was
Mm.
crazy.
Mm. So then after that, that's when you went overseas?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yep. I
Okay.
went well, first of all, I went back to Tennessee and got my degree.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's the first thing I did. And then I got a call from overseas asking me if I want to play. In fact, the guy who originally brought me over to overseas to England was a baller from Toledo, one of the greatest high school players ever. His name was Mr. Craig Lynch. He went to Start.
Oh,
Okay. He was Start's all-time leading scorer until Anthony Henderson Jr. broke his record.
yeah.
Yeah. So he was coaching at the time.
Wow.
And he called me up out of the blue from Great Britain and said, "Hey, Crosby, this is Lynch. You fancy coming over and playing some pro ball?" I was like, "Where at?" He was like, Great Britain. I was like, Great Britain?
Hmm.
I was like, that's where they don't even have cars over there, dude. They still have the horse. I thought they got around a horse and buggy. Yeah. So, don't forget this is back in the 80s, right? So yeah, man, I went and had a great career.
Tell us about the game where you scored the most points. How many you got the record for over there, right?
73, baby.
Yeah, yeah. How was that? What did you know? Did you have a feeling I'm gonna have a good game this game? Couple baskets go in, you just felt it. Take us through that moment. Because that's a lot of buckets. And there wasn't no three-pointers back then, right?
No, wasn't no 3-pointers, sir. Wasn't no 3-pointers. To be honest with you, and as I get older, I kind of just tell the truth. Yeah, I kind of had a heavy night before that extra game. Yeah, me and a few of the fellas was out partying a little bit, and I had no idea. You know what I mean? Because it's about preparation. You know what I mean? And the way it happened, I would have never thought it would be one of my greatest games ever because, to be honest, I was out partying the night before. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I was loose, or what, but it was just one of those games. Plus, we were playing Manchester United, okay? And I hated them because they won everything back in the
Yeah.
day. And I was playing for the other Manchester team, the underdogs, Manchester Giants. So
Yeah.
it was a derby, what they call a derby, like a rival.
Uh-huh.
So it was like Manchester United and Manchester Giants. I played for the Giants. And you're not going to believe this. The guy that was guarding me, well, they tried all kind of different things to stop me. But initially, the guy who opened up against me was called Craig Robinson,
Uh-huh.
right? I think he went to University of Connecticut or somewhere on the East Coast. You know who Craig Robinson is? Come to find out.
Who?
That is Michelle Obama's biological older brother.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And years later, we connected and we still stay in contact today. And I was like, man, I never realized that was you guarding me. Yeah, look him up, man. That is Michelle Obama's older biological brother. He
Wow.
was playing for the Giants, but it was just one of those games where you put it up from anywhere and it goes in. You know what I mean? It was one of them.
And today's, I talked to some different youth, and they struggle with playing two sports, playing multiple sports, or they think it's hard, or their parents think it's hard. What would you be able to say to an athlete that wants to play both sports, but they may not know how, or they coaches may don't think they can do it? What would you say just to be able to implement that if you can play both, you should do it because you have better options versus just being stuck to one sport?
First of all, you in high school. That's the first thing I want to say. Okay.
Yeah.
The odds are, and I don't want to sound negative or anything, but the odds are that there's only a certain amount of people who are blessed, or athletes who are blessed enough to go to college and get drafted in the NBA, or get drafted in the NFL, or get drafted in the MLB, right? There's only a very small number. You know what I mean? Like from in the NBA, what do you have? I don't know. How many do you have in the NBA? It's less than 100. I know that.
Yeah.
And probably in all the divisions. In the NFL, you have 55, right? That's not a whole lot of people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I really, really believe, and this is the inspiration I want to give. If you have the athletic ability to play both sports, yeah, you should definitely do it. And let me tell you why. First of all, it keeps you in shape.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, it keeps your mind mentally tough and ready. Okay. And your favorite sport is going to if you play multiple sports, whatever you do, say like football was my favorite sport, right? Which it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, but say it was. Well, when it comes to basketball, that's going to help me in the game of basketball. You know,
Yeah.
I used to go to the hole all the time because I wasn't afraid of physical contact.
Yeah.
And I wasn't afraid because Mr. Witcher, like, told me what pain feels like. You know, when Scott played the Rivers, your dad taught me what pain and showed me what pain feels like. You know what I mean? So I wasn't scared to go to the hole in basketball and get bumped or elbow because I did that in football. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I would definitely suggest that all sports, not just two sports. If you want to play basketball, do it. Play football, do it if you can. Play baseball, do it if you can. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's gonna help you in any sport that you play by playing every sport.
Yeah. What do you think about the landscape of sports nowadays, and how can we get these players, these young kids, to be able to own in and chime in onto their skills and development? Like you said, we were outside, we were playing sports. Like nowadays, you go past parks, you don't see nobody playing. You
Mhm.
don't people working on their game. A person might have a trainer here or there, but how can we go back to get the skills developed so in all facets of the sports we can get back to that good level?
It's going to be very difficult, sir. And I just, I'm not a quitter. I'm a winner, but I have to be realistic about things.
Yeah,
First of all, and this again is not a criticism, but kids these days are soft. They
yeah,
soft, okay. And then, in my opinion, and then it all starts in the home.
yeah,
You know what I mean? We can't really blame our children. We have to look at what goes on side in their home environment, okay?
yeah.
Because, like I said at the beginning of this interview, I give a lot of credit to my parents
Mm-hmm.
because they pushed me. They showed me what right looks like. They showed me how to be disciplined. They showed me how to be responsible. They instilled in me that nobody's going to give you anything in life. You got to go and get it, right?
Yeah,
If you want it. Yeah. And
yeah,
all of that I just said, that's missing in today's world.
yeah,
That's truly, truly missing. So our kids need some help, man, but it starts in the home
yeah,
with the parenting.
yeah. I
And if
agree.
you want to point fingers at somebody, we these youth these days, oh, they feel entitled, blah blah, whatever. Yeah, all that's true. What are the parents doing?
Right.
There's no accountability within the home.
Yeah.
and their kids.
Yeah.
The kids running around wild
Yeah.
because they're allowed to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say. In regards to my encouragement and inspiration, that's what I would say. We have to start in the home. Find
Yeah.
out what's going on in the home. Talk to the parents.
Yeah. Your
And
love
that's good.
Your love and impact and what you pour into the city of Toledo, Northwest Ohio, and even the previous places that you played and stuff like that. Where did that come from? Because you're passionate, you speak to people, you involve yourself, you pour into something, and you got a great heart. Where did that character come through, and why are you still going so hard to this day?
You know what? Hey, I've been all over the world, and it's a full circle. Okay,
Yeah,
just think about it. I've been all over the world. So before I even had the opportunity to go all over the world or to travel all over, it started right here, right? It
yeah,
started right here home. And home's going to always be home. And I've done this, I've done that. I've done philanthropy internationally. A lot of people know that I'm global. I've lived in different cultures, different communities. And now to be given the opportunity to work for such a great organization, Taylor Automotive Family, and to bring my life of experience, my knowledge. And I'm just a happy person anyway. I love people, man,
yeah,
because we got one life and one live. We
yeah,
got one life and one live. And
yeah,
so I try to be an inspiration for people just to take advantage of every second of our lives that we're given. Okay. And we all go through things. We all go through things, but our attitude dictates everything. And that's why, I try to be an inspiration. I try to stay positive with my attitude, and I try to lead by example. Okay.
yeah,
Because believe it or not, people watch you.
yeah,
They
yeah,
watch you, okay? But I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because I was born with this. I was
yeah.
born with this. I was born. Plus, our house, even though I'm an only child, did you know that? I'm an only
Uh-uh.
child. Yeah.
Okay.
But check this out. Our house was a neighborhood open house. Anybody and everybody came to the Crosbys, right? And they ate food. They ate plates of food and all that. My mom used to school my friends back in the day because they had 6, 7 brothers and sisters, and they wasn't used to having, two helpings or three helpings or something. So when they came to my house and got a plate, man, their plate was like Mount Rushmore, right? My
Yeah,
mama used to stop and say, "Boy, put some of that food back." That's
yeah,
not how we do it in the Crosby household. You see that big pot of food or them big pots of food, make you a plate and you can go back, young man, as many times as you want to.
yeah,
And so, yeah, my mom just instilled those manners, I would say, in the kids that just didn't know any better.
yeah.
So she used, why you got 3 pork chops on your plate? Just get one and go. Just get one and go back twice.
Yeah,
You know, do it that way. So yeah, it comes again. It stems from my parents' early childhood upbringing and just the kindness that they showed our community, man. Back in the
yeah.
day, everybody just came to our house.
And like I said too, like with legends like you, like the time codes, like with legends that you can reach out and touch, that give you advice, that help you better, that's there for you anytime you need it. That's remarkable. Like you don't just find it everywhere. A lot of the legends, a lot of the greats, they might sit around and talk with you, but they don't be connected with you like you or Tom is. Give us a good Tom Cole story for it. We had him on the podcast. And we were talking about you, and I was telling him that we were gonna set up for an interview,
Right,
but
right.
you too. I love y'all passion, and I just love how, like I said, y'all give back and y'all there. And with y'all status, y'all don't act like y'all better than people. Y'all fit in and y'all so loving. Give us a time
Right.
code story.
You know what, Mr. Tom Cole, by the way, I don't know if he told you this, but he knew I was gonna say it anyway. Um, and this is my name for him. I mean, you know, most people laugh at it, but I'm serious about it. So he's Tom the Goat Cole. Okay, I just want people to know that. You know, I call Tom Cole the Goat because he is the Goat. I mean, he's and journalism and broadcasting and TV and radio. You know, he
Yeah.
taught me really everything I know. Now, I've always been a talker. Okay, I've
Yeah.
talked all my life because that's just my personality. But this guy has helped me so much, man, in regards to showing me how it's done. And when I first started at Taylor, really, really green in front of the camera, you know, wasn't shy, but just wasn't smooth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he used to pull me to one side and say, "Hey, this was great. This was great." Excuse me. You might want to work on this a little bit, you know, but it wasn't nasty. It wasn't like, you know, he was being critical.
Yeah.
Or he would always encourage me, like, "Oh my God, TC, man, you rocked that, man. Great job." Never anything negative that he said. So I owe him a lot of credit, man. I really admire the career that he's had.
Yeah.
He's always been welcoming. He's always been helpful, and he will always give anybody a word of encouragement. And you just don't, you don't see good, you don't meet good brothers like that from the
Yeah.
heart. You know,
Right.
genuine from the heart. You know,
Right.
and so we kind of spin off each other. You know what I mean? He's quite amazed at my level of discernment, my
Mm-hmm.
level, 'cause I pick up on things like way ahead of other people, you
Yeah.
know. And that's just a something natural. I believe that God gave me that skill, just to notice things before they actually happen, and it's helped me along the way. But you know, I love Tom Cole, man. He's the reason that I'm at Taylor right now.
Yeah.
He's the reason I'm here because he spoke up and said to Steve and Mr. Taylor, you know, so who should we get to communicate and connect with our urban community, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And Tom brought my name up.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing. Y'all doing beautiful things, and you are, like I
Thank you,
said,
man.
even in the urban, you are, and this is even with cars. This is with life. This is with sports. You making an impact, and like even when I started this, like it's a podcast format, but I just started it by just spotlighting people, showing people good deeds, telling them about how people's careers, their journeys, and how they are able
Right,
to, and even allowing people to see the faith and the God inside of them, because
right,
people coming from where we coming from, you know, they might not think they can do that. They might not think they can
right,
work at a portal place. They might think they can't play basketball. They can't do that. But when they see and hear these stories, it's
right,
motivation for them to be able to see I can do it. Like I said, growing up, I grew up a couple streets over on Calumet. I heard all
right,
about living on Parkdale and
right, right,
Elvis is. We heard all these stories, so we had things to look up to and people to look up to. So then
right,
when we see y'all started or had all these accomplishments, y'all still there, loving, humbling. How can I help
right,
y'all? I'm here. You need this, and even me seeing, you know, on social media the
right,
inspiration, love that y'all give back, man. That's you can't buy that. Like that's real and that's passion. Like you said, God given.
right, right. And you know what, man? I really appreciate you started your podcast. I support you 100%, man. You're doing a great job. I've seen some other your podcast shows, and you know, just inspiration that you actually reach out and try to find out about somebody's life. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? That's huge in itself. You know what I mean? And I have all respect for the Witcher family. You know, spanning decades, man, because if it's one thing your dad taught me was if you don't do anything else, Mr. Crosby, you gonna respect a witcher. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And whether I wanted to or not, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's just what it is. Because your
On the
dad
other,
used to lay the wood.
yeah, on another podcast coming to the athletes of the 70s and 80s, I had a chance to sit with Mr. Charles Hillary. Shout out to Charles Hillary, great guy.
Yes,
The Vilma
right,
story we was talking about all these different people, all these different times in the area. Your name came up, and
Right.
one of my coaches played for Devilbiss, Coach Vaughn, Kenny Vaughn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he used to tell us about the Devilbiss stories, and just the
Okay.
rivalry like that. So
Right.
we
Right.
was hearing this stuff coming up. The Carnell Smiths, the
Right.
Matt Davises. We were hearing all this, and it was like, man, like this used to be football. It made us want to step our game up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right. 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 And
amazing.
another great thing you're doing, you're building awareness, and you're highlighting the history
Yeah,
of City League athletics in Toledo and some of the great athletes that participated and competed against each other at that time. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So that's a wonderful thing to do, man. And I just want to congratulate you.
Yeah, thanks. And then, like your best friend, like I remember when I was younger, I played for the McKinley Broncos. I was out of district, so I couldn't play for them. But
Good.
we had the initials on there, so I'm like, "What FB?" And it was another coach that died, so they're like
Good.
Harley Bill. But his son was a little older. Patrick was he a little
Patrick.
older. So I
Yeah.
knew of his son. Then I used to hear the stories on how good he was, and football and basketball. So it's just a
Yeah.
recurring cycle. Just be able to hear the stories and hear, and then I had Coach Dorn on there. Shout out to Coach Dorn. So we got to
Right. Right.
revisit
Yes.
too, and I'm like, it was special over there on Upton.
Yeah, man. The West Side, man. The West Side was full of great athletes, and it
Yeah,
and it all stemmed from the Melvin Gaines eras. Okay, and then
yeah.
we on the same street we had George Williams, who was a beast at Rossford High School. He was a two-sport athlete too, and
Wow.
football, basketball. Okay, he
Yeah,
lived over there, and then we had so many. Mr. Farley Bell, the Browns, the whole neighborhood. Sean Reed.
yeah.
Jim Jackson. Jim Jackson used to come to my Terry Crosby basketball camps when I
Wow.
was at Tennessee. When I came home in the summer at
Yeah.
Nathan Hale, yeah, he was in the 7th and 8th grade, and we used to let him run with us. So things, yes. Some days we used to let him play. Other days we said, no, you sit down and watch us today. You
Yeah.
know, uh, and so people don't know that, man. It is a rich history, and on that side of town, spanning all the way from the mid 50s
Yeah.
all the way to whatever year you want to call it.
Cause
Yes,
then wasn't Rob
just
Johnson over in that neighborhood too?
I don't remember Rob.
You
No,
know,
Rob went to makeup. He could have been. He could have been.
what
Hmm.
Coach Rice, George Rice.
I think Rice was over there. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Coach Rice is out in California now, isn't he? L.A. somewhere out there.
No, I'm not for sure. I thought he was on the East Coast, but I'm not for sure.
Okay, I know he ain't in Toledo. I
Yeah,
do know that. So yeah, man, we owe we owe homage to a lot of great people that had a significant influence in my life, and
yeah,
I would never ever forget them. I write pieces about them right now today because without them, I wouldn't be who I am. So,
yeah,
and that's just keeping it real.
yeah, and that's the humility. Well, we thank you for sitting down, having a conversation with us. We
Oh
appreciate it.
man, I loved it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, and it's been an honor, man. Go enjoy time with your family, because family is everything. That's why I
Yeah,
say.
man, and I'm so buzzing right now. I'm buzzing right now. I got my kids here, man. I'm on top of the world. But
Yeah,
I did want to ask you, are you going to send me the link to this so I can see it?
yeah, yes, I will. I'm gonna send it to you, and I'm gonna tag you when I post it as well.
Okay. And did you put times out there yet? Is time there yet?
Yeah, yeah, his is out there.
Oh, okay. I ain't seen it. I ain't seen it.
I'm gonna tag you. I'm gonna tag you and send it to you.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much, man. Hey, make sure you stay in touch. Yeah.
Oh, I will for sure. Enjoy time with your kids.
All right, I will. God bless, man. Love you.
Yeah, I love you too.
All right. Bye-bye.